While Lu Xing's body was emitting a powerful blue energy, he extended his hands and his eyes began to shine with joy, causing a smile to appear on his face. The power of the masters had now fused with his body. Lu Xing's eyes widened in confusion and his mind filled with many questions. The bodies of Yang Yizhuo, Wang Hai and Duan Yifeng began to disappear with the wind, transforming into dust. Before disappearing, the three began to show a proud smile. Lu Xing's attention focused on them, and he could not help but feel somewhat confused. A strange blue energy began to swirl around his body, and Yang Yizhuo mentioned that from now on, everything depended on Lu Xing. If destiny allowed it, they would meet again. The eyes of our boy widened with sadness and surprise. He did not know what was happening. Lu Xing closed his eyes and began to cry in sadness. Not long after, Lu Xing fell to the ground. He could feel an ocean of energy filling his body. He closed his eyes and concentrated to channel the energy. Several seconds later, Lu Xing opened his eyes and his attention focused on the energy that was emerging from his hand. Countless understandings and revelations flooded his mind. He already mastered 2 level 15 Daos and 1 level 16 Dao in addition to countless Daos of other levels. His foundation in the martial path had risen to an unimaginable level, billions of times higher than before. Now he had a talent never seen before in history. With an expression full of determination, Lu Xing tightly clenched his fists. His eyes began to shine with excitement and a smile spread across his face. Now, at last, he had the true qualification to try to forge a path, a perfect Tao that belonged entirely to him. Lu Xing sat on the ground and decided to concentrate. His eyes were filled with determination and confidence since his power was growing by leaps and bounds. He decided to return to reality once he had fully assimilated everything. Our boy concentrated and all the martial energies began to emerge from his body. When that moment came, he was going to reach true transcendence. At the same time on Earth it was daytime and somewhere was the mansion of Lu Xing's family. Inside the mansion, more precisely in the living room, someone was watching television, which was showing a city in chaos. Lu Xing's parents were sitting on the sofa. With eyes full of fear, the mother placed her hand on the father's shoulder and couldn't help but feel afraid. The father took out the remote and with a confused expression couldn't help but wonder why the planet was being invaded by an advanced civilization, realizing that the world was about to plunge into chaos. While the father was smoking and watching television with a serious gaze, the mother's eyes widened in confusion. She thought all this was a lie since the scenes looked like they were taken from a movie. Just then, a great explosion occurred, devastating the entire city with a confident gaze. The father made it clear that Channel 1 would not make this kind of joke. Lu Xing's sister, who was carrying her school backpack on her shoulder, arrived. Her attention fixed on their parents, and with a serious gaze she revealed that classes at school had been suspended. On the internet everyone was talking about this and many videos showed that it really was an alien invasion. At the same time, with eyes shining with rage, IG's martial spirit forcefully swung his arm, destroying everything in his path. The most powerful martial saints tried to attack, but with a simple movement, IG's martial spirit cut their bodies into pieces, causing them terrible pain. While IG's eyes were shining with evil, with a smile he made it clear that no one was going to be able to escape. Lu Xing's sister approached the parents who were sitting on the couch watching television. She put her hands over her chest and couldn't help but feel fear. The mother put her hand over her chest and panicked. Meanwhile, on the other side, with a confident gaze, the father revealed that IG's strength was at a different level from the warriors of the blue planet. With eyes full of fear and terror, the mother couldn't help but wonder if the apocalypse was about to arrive. The father's eyes began to shine with confidence, and with a smile he asked his wife not to overthink it since that wasn't going to happen. Even if heaven collapsed, someone stronger would appear to hold it up. It wasn't something they, mere mortals, should worry about. With her face covered in sweat, the mother turned toward the father and began thinking silently. She panicked and with tears in her eyes revealed that this was what worried her most. Lu Xing now held an important position within the army. She feared that the high command would send him to fight against IG. The father's attention focused on her and after thinking for a while, with a calm expression he asked her to stop thinking about meaningless things, since he didn't believe that even if the whole world united there wouldn't be at least one master who could defeat the aliens. He stood up and with eyes shining with confidence told her that they should trust the government, they should not complicate things for Lu Shang. And the others, he decided to go out to buy provisions and at the same time look for a team to remodel the basement of the house and turn it into a bomb shelter. The sister's eyes filled with worry. The mother stood up and with a worried expression decided to go with him to help. At the same time, while the rays of sunlight were illuminating everything, somewhere in the Dragon Kingdom was the meeting room. With a serious gaze, Zheng Yu arrived and entered the villa. A soldier lowered his head before her and welcomed her. In the villa was also Lu Xing's former master, who had his arms behind his back. He felt relieved to notice that she had arrived. With a curious expression, Zheng Yu turned her head toward him and asked how the situation was. Tan Zhongwu took out a tablet which had videos of a demon-shaped monster with wings killing humans. Zheng Yu's attention fixed on it, and she remained silent. Tan Zhongwu revealed that it was a newly arrived video from the Eagle Kingdom. 3 level 9 martial warriors had been defeated and more than 50 level 8 grand masters had been captured. His eyes began to shine with fear and seriousness when he revealed that up until now, they had already lost 5 level 9 martial masters on the Blue Star. With a curious gaze, Zheng Yu put her hand on her chin and began to ponder. She suspected that this alien invader must possess extremely advanced detection devices to capture high-level martial artists so efficiently. Her eyes began to shine with seriousness when she realized that all of them had felt a strong sense of crisis lately. In times like this, when the lips disappeared, the teeth grew cold. They had to unite to face this threat together. The room was full of martial saints. The one with crossed arms mentioned that the alien invader was a true level 10 martial expert. At the same level as the guide, they were no match for IG and asked where Lu Shang was. Zheng Yu's eyes began to shine with confidence and seriousness. She started staring at them and revealed that Lu Shang was in temporary seclusion, trying to advance to level 9. His cultivation place was in the sea. They didn't know when he would come out, and they also didn't want to interrupt him. She knew that Lu Shang still wasn't aware of what was happening outside. With a nervous expression, the brown-haired martial saint extended his hand and suggested asking for help from the guide, since he remembered that Lu Shang's wife, Snowy, had a communicator that could contact the guide. Just then, Snowy entered the room with the communicator in her hand. While her eyes were shining with seriousness, she revealed that she had already sent a request for help 3 days ago. The guide needed some time to arrive. He had said that they would try to gain as much time as possible. With an expression full of fear, the martial saint extended his hand and mentioned that if Lu Shang were present, maybe they could resist. But the problem was that they didn't know when he was going to come out of his seclusion. With a confused gaze, Snowy began to think she didn't know what to say. At that moment, someone placed their hand on top of the table. It was Zheng Yu. She crossed her arms and with a furious gaze made it clear that interrupting a seclusion was a great taboo in the martial path. If it affected Lu Shang's advancement, the consequences could be even more serious than the alien invasion. Snowy put her hand over her chest and remained silent. Zheng Yu suggested trying to buy time by confronting the demonic spear until Lu Shang came out of seclusion. The martial saints began to look at each other and let out a sigh, knowing that they had no other option. At the same time, the guide's spaceship was traveling at high speed. Zhao Lin informed Lan Cheng that he was already very close to him. He was going to go with him to the Blue Star. He also revealed that Akatam and his people were not insignificant. He was worried that Lan Cheng would go alone and end up being an offering. Lan Cheng began to gaze toward the ground and with a serene expression mentioned that if this time they managed to successfully rescue Lu Shang, he was going to share with Zhao Lin the enormous favor that Lu Shang owed him. At the same time, at the bottom of the sea, Lu Shang sat on the ground and concentrated, making his martial spirit emerge from his body. The violet crystal humanoid figure of Lu Shang emitted strange white undulations. The entire crystal figure was transforming into white and then another transformation began. This time the white figure began to turn black. It was the humanoid figure with a black scythe of level 11 according to the crystal contemplation method. one of the inheritances from Duan Yefeng's level 15 Divine Crystal Dao. Lu Shang let out a sigh. His eyes widened in surprise. He couldn't believe that the level jump was so terrifying. From level 8 he had gone up to level 11. His martial strength had reached level 11. But he couldn't understand what came next. He didn't know if his current level was too low, realizing that everything else would only be unlocked when he fully raised all his levels. Lu Shang stood up and wiped off his pants using his hand. Now came the external martial body. His previous understanding of the Tao of Stars was too difficult. He believed that the diagram of immortal cell networks and stellar channels that he had created was quite good, but now saw that it was full of flaws and immature. To achieve it, he had to destroy and rebuild from scratch. Lu Shang closed his eyes and clenched his fist. He extended his hand and a flash ran through his entire body. The immortal cells began to manifest. Then all the cells in his body exploded in unison, causing him terrible pain. An ordinary martial artist would already be hopelessly dead, but Lu Shang was different. His martial body was being frantically reconstructed. Tendons and muscles grew one by one. Bones regenerated centimeter by centimeter. The entire skeleton shone with a radiant color, as if it were made of pure gold. Lu Shang opened his mouth and began to scream in agony. Several seconds later, he descended to the ground. His eyes began to shine with excitement and a strange energy began to emerge from his body. He had achieved it. He decided to call this Supreme Bone. It didn't matter if someone mocked him. He wasn't going to change the name, and he also wouldn't use the name Stellar Immortal Body anymore. With a smile, Lu Shang clenched his fist. From now on his constitution would be called Supreme Stellar Body, the Earth, and the 8 extremes of the universe. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part,